I've always been someone who blushes, and I've found that really difficult because it means there's no way for me to hide the way that I'm feeling. If I feel a little bit embarrassed, um, I would always go bright red, and I would get a bright red rash come up on my chest as well. And it'd even be if I was thinking about doing something that would put me at the centre of attention, um, waiting to answer my name in class, speaking up in a meeting, walking into a room full of people, um, talking to a stranger, talking to a guy. Yeah, it would happen. It would happen a lot, and I think the difficult thing for me was that although I could try and remain calm and I could appear like I was okay on the outside, the blushing would give it away. And then people would make up their own conclusions about what that means. So if I go red because I'm talking to a stranger, if that stranger is a guy, people tended to assume that I just fancied the guy. And that made it even worse. And people think it's okay to point out that you're blushing, like as if you don't know your face is burning. But one of the things that I found strange was that I did a presentation in a school for 400 people, and in the presentation I was talking about how important the cause was to me because I was promoting the Race for Life. So I was talking about how cancer research is important to me. And then I said, and that's why I'm stood up here in front of you, red in the face. And later on, I had a couple of people say to me, why did you say that? You weren't red in the face. But I felt like I was. So I can never really tell if I am red in the face or not. And that kind of helps, to be honest. Because if I feel like I'm red in the face and then I'm doubting that that's the truth, it means that I'm not focused on it and I'm not worrying about that being the case. The worst thing is when you go red and then you're thinking about you going red and it makes it worse and you go redder. I had two strategies for dealing with the blushing, and one of them was to wear my hair really long, have a fringe really long, and then wear my head down all the time and cover my face as much as possible. And the other was to avoid all situations in which I might blush. So neither of these were very successful strategies. And as I've got older, I guess I've become more comfortable with who I am, and I do tend to blush less. I know that the blushing still happens, and I kind of feel like that's okay now. I read some interesting research that said about how people who blush are perceived as more trustworthy, and they're likeable. So maybe the way that I used to think about blushing and what I used to guess people might think about it, maybe that isn't true at all, and maybe blushing is actually okay.